It's so nice to see you. Most of you are familiar faces. Um, for those who don't know me, I am Mirto Mangriotti from Athens, Greece, and I am allergic to the word commitment. And before you say anything, and uh, a coach who is allergic to the word commitment, let me tell you why. Back when I was starting to become a coach, I was talking to another coach who was a dance instructor, and what she did was that she used her dance practice to coach couples for the relationships. And she was telling me how frustrated she was when people didn't show up for the lessons. And she told me, you know what? Now, what I do is that I have them commit that before I take them as clients, they need to commit that they will show up to every dance lesson. And as I was listening to that, I thought, well, I love dancing. Why would I need to commit? I would come anyway to the dance lessons because it's something that I love. I don't need to commit. And that's when it dawned to me, what if what we want is not more commitment, but it is finding things that we enjoy and love doing in our lives? But the problem is that we live in a world right now where success is measured by how much you do, how much you have, how much you have accomplished. And everything has to do, we don't stop, we don't sit back to think what we want. We are expected to always do more and more and more. And if you are a good girl like me, it means that you don't need more pressure from other people. You are fully capable of setting the expectations really high all by yourself, right? And I always felt like I had long to-do lists that never finished, that 24 hours in the day were never enough. And when I tried to rest, I felt guilty because I always thought that I needed to be doing something more, something else. I always try to make other people happy. I try to be perfect. And I always judged myself when I made any mistakes. Can anybody relate to that? Yes, I'm sure you do. So before we begin, I would like to know a bit about you, where you stand in the good girl level. So I want you to tell me on a scale from 1 to 10, how often do you put other people's needs before your own? And 1 is always, and 10 is no, I always prioritize myself when I need to. So I'm waiting to see your answers in the comments. Good, good. And how much time do you allocate for fun? 1 is I have no time, or I feel guilty when I do it. And 10 is when I want to find time, when I want to have fun, I find the time. Hmm. Okay. And one last question. Um, are you a perfectionist? Yes, that's a yes or no question. Because I know that most most good girls are perfectionists. Okay. Another thing that I know about good girls usually is that as what I used to do in the past was that I always used to hide and stay quiet. And what I want you to do today is to go all in and participate. I promise I won't make you do anything extreme, but don't hide. So what we are here to do today is to understand why we feel like good girls and what is behind it. Where's the fun in not doing anything extreme? Okay, challenge accepted, Melody. But what we are here to do today is that we are here to understand why we feel like good girls and what we can do to start changing it. And the one thing that I want you to think about is what if commitment is not what you need, but another way to look at your life. And the first thing that I want to say is it doesn't matter how old you are to be a good girl. You can be 5, you can be 10, you can be 20, you can be 60, you can be 80, and still be a good girl. But what is definitely true is that the pattern usually starts at a very young age. We experience things when we are young that makes us want to stay safe. We want to feel that we are good enough and want to feel loved. For me, it started when I was 5 years old. A couple of things happened. The first one was that my parents divorced when I was 5 years old. And I saw my mom being so unhappy. And at that time, I decided that I didn't want to cause her any more pain. So subconsciously, I decided that I wanted to be a good girl. I wanted to do everything perfectly so that she would be happy. So I went to school and I did all these things. And of course, whenever my mom went to school, they were telling her, "Oh, your daughter is such a good girl." So mission accomplished. But to what did it do for me? I missed a lot of things as a child because in my mind I wanted to do everything perfectly. The other thing that happened was around the same age I was bullied at school. And I know now that young boys, when they like a girl, instead of telling her how much they like her, they either tease her or sometimes they hit her. But for me, it was a very traumatic experience, and I was so scared that I didn't go to school for a month. And slowly, with the help of my mom and my teacher, I went back. But of course, what this did for me was that I decided to be, on one hand, good, and on the other hand, show a very strong self and independent so that nobody could ever hurt me again. And these things, you do them unconsciously. And what another thing that happened is because my father was absent, I think that also subconsciously I felt that I wasn't good enough and to be loved. So what I did as I grew up, I I tried to be what I thought other people wanted for from me, who they wanted me to be, so that I would earn their love and their validation. I don't know if anybody has felt like that, but we all have a story, and I'm sure you do have a story. And if you look back, maybe you can find the time that and the events that probably made you be the good girl. Sometimes it's your parents saying, telling you, be a good girl. Don't be loud. You're not allowed to speak right now. Or it can be that you wanted to be a good girl to feel safe. And what we did then, as we grew up, this became a pattern, and unconsciously we continued to show that, to use that, because it made us feel validated, it made us feel safe, it made us feel loved. But at what cost? And the thing is that maybe we hadn't even stopped to think what we were doing. It was automatic. I grew up like that. And as the years passed, I said yes to many things just because I wanted people to like me. And at some point, I said yes to my brother. He had um, he had recreated the family business, selling dental products to dentists and dental technicians. And at some point, he changed the software system and he got in trouble because it wasn't working. I am a computer scientist, if you don't know it. So he asked for my help. And as a good girl, what else could I do? I just said yes. And it would give me two things. One is that I would help my brother. And the other thing is that I would also feel worthy. So two in one. But my friends were telling me not to do it. I don't know how many times have you said yes to things, even though you felt that they were not right, and even though some other people were telling you not to? Have you ever done that? Yeah. So so I went into the company and started working on helping him, and saying yes to different things led me to, after a few years, being running the company. I don't know how it happened, but it just did. And it was something that I never wanted to do. And not only that, I felt trapped. It was a time when Greece had very difficult. They were in a difficult economic situation, and so was our company. And my typical day was this: I woke up at 5 a.m. I sat on my computer. I worked till 10. Then I went just planning the day and writing emails, because when I went at 10 to my office, there was the only thing that I was doing was problem solving till 8 p.m. And then I got back home. I crashed on my sofa, watched Netflix, ate, went to bed, and then the next day I did that again and again and again. I ran on autopilot and I never stopped to think or understand what I was doing. I gained about 50 pounds. I was stressed all the time. I was depressed. I started having inexplicable skin rashes and nobody knew why they were happening. They were so strong that I had to take 2 antihistamine pills per day, but I didn't listen. Have you ever been in a place in your life where you just go on day in, day out, doing the same thing and not even um, sitting back and understanding what you're doing, and you're just waiting for one day that this will stop? I, I don't know if you've been there. Yeah. So, so the situation was so bad that one day came back from a conference abroad, and I had a boyfriend at the time. We were living together. So I come back from the conference, and I get home, and there's something missing. And I realize that he has moved out, and he left me a very sweet letter telling me, I love you. I am so sorry, but I can no longer do that. And the most interesting thing from that is that I was so stressed and so depressed at the time that instead of feeling grief, I felt relief. For me, it was one less problem to think about. Crazy, right? So a couple of months later, I was in my office, and I was planning for a workshop for our clients. And suddenly I started thinking about all the worst thing that could go wrong in this workshop. And my mind started spiraling. And at the same time, I could also feel my body going. I could feel my heart beating faster, my breath becoming shallower. I felt like the walls were falling in. And at one moment I said, I need to get out of here. I cannot breathe in here. So I ran down the stairs and crying and trying to catch my breath. And I was running in the streets, and I called my doctor because I was agonizing. I have no idea what was happening to me. And he says, you are having a panic attack. That was finally my wake-up call. That moment made me stop and think. And this is what we don't do. As I said before, we never stop to listen, first of all, to our bodies, because our bodies are always sending us signs when something is wrong. They're always telling us when there is something not going right, and we either ignore it or we don't even realize it. And this is now the first thing that I want us to do together. I want us to pause. I want us to close our eyes and just take 3 deep breaths. I want you to breathe in from your nose and breathe out slowly. And then take one more deep breath from your nose. Breathe out as slow or as fast as your breath goes. You don't have to make it do something different than what it is already doing. And let's take one more deep breath in through the nose and then out from the mouth or your nose, whatever feels right for you. And what I want you to do now is scan your body from head to toe and just notice where there is tension, if there is tension. Is it in your belly, your back, your throat, your knees, your hips, wherever it is, just notice it. Or maybe it's just a feeling. It can be that you feel tired or that you feel stressed. Whatever you notice. And then just ask your body, what is it trying to tell you? And now I want you to slowly open your eyes whenever you're ready. And write down what you got. What did your body tell you? And you don't have to share it with me, just write it somewhere. But if anybody wants to share in the chat, feel free. I was actually feeling some pressure in my solar plexus. Uh, and I think it was because before I started the workshop, I had a short panic that the link wasn't working, but it was, so I needed some time to settle down. But you know that's the thing, that the body is always telling us something, and after you write that down, also write what is one thing you can do to support what your body is telling you. It can be just one short thing. And when can you do it? So that panic attack was my wake-up call. And I decided that I needed to do something to change my life, because at that point, I believed that if I didn't, I would really end up to the hospital with something a lot more serious. And deciding to change is one decision, one conscious decision that you can make anytime. All you need is the awareness that something needs changing, and then deciding that you need to do something about it. The problem with me was that I had been running for so long on the autopilot, doing things for other people and trying to be what other people wanted, being a chameleon, and never ever thinking and checking what it was that I wanted for myself, what it was that I liked. That at that point, what shocked me was that I had no idea what I wanted. I had no idea. And it was a very scary and realization. If you asked me back then, what do you want? What do you like to do? What do you enjoy in your life? I think that the only thing I could have told you is food. And food is just another way to mask other problems. That's why I was 50 pounds overweight, because this is what I was doing. So even if you don't know what you want, what you surely know, and what I knew, was what I didn't want. I didn't want the life I was living. I didn't want to be overweight. I didn't want to be stressed. I didn't like the job I was in. I didn't like feeling lonely. I felt so alone. I had friends, and I had family, and they were always supporting me, but I still felt alone, all alone, because I was hiding. I was never myself. So I started from what I didn't want. So the next thing I want you to do right now, I will give you 2 minutes or three to write down what you know you don't want. When you're done, just let me know. Yes, I have my cats who are running around. I cannot stop them, unfortunately. They're always part of all my meetings or my workshops or my coaching calls. And it's interesting that they act out, especially in these days. So, so what I decided was that I need to change. But what I wanted was to shut down the business. That's what I felt was necessary for me. But what it did, it made me feel so guilty. And so many times we don't make any decisions because we feel guilty. I felt guilty because I felt that I had failed my brother, failed my family. I felt guilty towards my parents and especially towards my employees because we had 30 employees, which meant 30 families. And if I shut down the business, I knew them all personally. It was a small business, so I knew everybody, I knew their families. So it was devastating for me. That this decision felt so hard. But the thing is that it also felt necessary for me. I decided that for the first time in my life, I had to prioritize myself, not in a selfish way, but because for me, I felt it was a matter of life and death. And I couldn't support anyone the way I was feeling back then. So the next thing that I want you to do right now is write down what is one decision you would make if you didn't feel guilty about it. What is one thing that you would do? And then I want you to think of one small step you can take right now towards it. It doesn't have to be big, it can be just a small step. How does that feel? Is it scary? Is it, do you feel relief? I'm wondering. I, at that time, felt, I have to tell you, both. Um, that's when I I start reading self-development books and signed into a course actually called Winning the Game of Money, because I thought that this was actually my problem, because at that point my biggest stress was cash flow in the company. So I thought that this is what I needed. And the truth is that a couple of weeks into the course, I realized that I was unhappy in every area of my life. And that's how I made the decision that, yes, what I actually need to do is shut down the business. So I wrote the goal that I would have shut down the business. It was May 2017. And I wrote the goal down and I said, I will have shut down the company, almost shut down the company by the end of the year. And if you know anything about goal setting, this is not the right way to write goals, but I didn't know it. That's the only way I knew, and I didn't believe it could be done. So that's why I put the word almost. And then came the hard part. I had to tell my brother, tell my parents, and then tell my employees and my major suppliers. And it was painful. Every step was hard. Of course, the good thing is that my brother agreed and supported me. The same thing with my parents. But what I want to say about that is I felt the fear and I did it anyway, because I felt that I needed to do that. And the only way you can get out of a situation that you feel is not serving you in any way, is by stepping up and start taking baby steps. I don't mean that you need to do everything at once or change your life from the one day to the next, but by starting to take baby steps, you will start, first of all, building the confidence, and also solutions will start showing up. Because the problem is that we feel stuck and we feel that there's nothing we can do. We're too scared to try, and we stay there, and years gone by, and we don't do anything, and we just pray that something miraculously will change. And maybe it will, but this is not usually the case. So what happened was that as I started going towards that direction, a company showed up. My brother negotiated with another company. And the good thing is that they took part of our company and they hired many people from our staff. But this happened because we we moved toward that direction. And then, because in Greece, there's a lot of bureaucracy, and most people were telling me, uh, "You're never going to make it in 8 months. There's no way you can do that in 8 months." And this is also what happens. Don't listen to other people's bad advice. Don't listen to what they tell you. When you really want something for you, stop listening to other people who are putting you down. So an accountant showed up out of the blue who was an expert in handling these situations. And he really did help us uh, shut down the business. And what also happened is that during this time, I also started taking more care of myself. I started making decisions and trying to do things that I enjoyed, and they started showing up. I started seeing what I liked. So one night I was it was end of November at that year, and I was still late in the office, and I was I craved to go and have dinner in a restaurant near my house, a very posh restaurant. But as a good girl, I had never ever eaten anywhere by myself, not even had coffee in a hotel I was staying. It was out of my imagination. I was so shy and so self-conscious that I never ever had tried to do that before. So I was in the office and I told one of my closest employees, I want to do that. And he said, you should go and do it. And I said, okay, I'll go. So I went there, I sat down, I ordered, I, 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 I still felt a bit self-conscious. I ordered my best food. And what happened was, in the end, when I asked for the bill, they told me it's on the house. And I was shocked. And that's when I knew it was a confirmation for me from the universe that I was moving into the right direction. My older me would have thought, oh, they saw me all by myself. Maybe they pitied me and they gave me the food for free. But the new me saw this as a positive thing. And what I realized was that as you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, then things start happening. So all you need to do is begin. That's the most important thing. Decide what you want and start taking the steps, and then you will see that things are going to start happening for you. You need to get out of your comfort zone. You cannot stay where you are and expect things to change. And I always use this quote. Einstein said that insane is the person who does the same things and expects different results. So, yes, start making small changes, deliberate baby steps. What happened? The 5th of January of the next year, I shut down the door behind me. And this was I started a new chapter in my life. What I realized back then was that, goal setting works. And I decided that I needed to learn more and learn more tools on how to make my life work. And yes, in the beginning, it started because I needed that for me. But as I went along, I started thinking how many other people could benefit if they knew these tools. So I decided to become certified, become a coach and a trainer. And my mission is to help people who feel stuck in their lives, change them, show them that it is possible, and guide them And as I say, help people create a life that they don't need a vacation from. So um, the the 7 or 8 years have passed since then, and now as I look back, I cannot believe where I was and how my life was, and how I ended up there, because it took me 50 years to realize that I was in a mode that I never questioned and never asked what I wanted. I just said yes in order to make other people happy. And what I started doing after I shut down the company, I started thinking about how can I be more authentic? How can I be true to myself? How how can you do that? What can you do? And I started making decisions and taking baby steps again, and that would honor my needs and my wants. And I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not. If you've lived like that for years, it's not that easy. But I know that you can do it. And I can share one more story of the time that it was the first time that I stood up for myself. Because usually good girls, I don't know if you're like that. I don't stand, I used to not stand up for myself. I never wanted to get into arguments for not for one reason, for two or three reasons. The first one was that I didn't like arguments, period. Uh, then I was always scared that what would the other person think? Maybe they wouldn't like me. And the third thing is that if I lost the argument, it meant that I wasn't good enough. So I avoided arguments like a plague, and I stayed silent, and then I felt regret. I don't know if you've ever felt this in your life. So I am I'm also working with a for 25 years parallel to that work as a good girl. As I said, I and the perfectionist. I did so many things. So parallel to that work, I worked for Greek singer, and the year that I was trying to shut down the business, I had asked another person to help in the production. So she did half and I did the other half. And it was September, and we had to. There was a very big concert in one of the biggest venues in Greece. So we were both there. And when I got to the venue to get my credentials, my pass, so that I could move around in all areas, it said uh, auto cue instead of production assistant. And I was crushed. My ego was shouting. I felt like my work was not appreciated. I wanted to leave. I wanted to cry. But of course, as a good girl that I was, I stayed and did my job. But because I had vowed at that point that I would start standing up for myself, I said, I'm going to talk to them about it. But of course, as a good girl, it it was my first step. So would I talk to them? No, no. What I did was I wrote a a really big SMS. There wasn't even WhatsApp back then, so it was a really big one, which it took me half an hour, more than half an hour to write. And at the same time, I was thinking, am I going to offend them? What are they going to think? And after reading it a hundred times, I pressed send and I breathed. And then I started thinking all these thoughts. Oh my God, what are they? Maybe I shouldn't have done it. What are they going to say? Maybe I should have never said anything. I should have stayed quiet. The good thing is that it didn't take them long to reply, and the reply was, "We are so sorry. It was a mistake. It will never happen. Of course, we value you. Of course, we know how the job you do and how important it is." And this taught me two lessons. The first one is that when you speak up, you you never know what the answer will be, and it might pleasantly surprise you. And the other thing is that you don't die. I didn't die. So just just um, defend yourself. Just set your boundaries. Set the Say what you want and what you need. And if you do it out of love, and if the other person loves you, then they will understand. So the most important thing is why you do it and how you do it. If there's love involved, then both parties or all parties will understand. And that's the most important thing. Because, you know, and if they don't, maybe it wasn't worth it. So what have you got to lose? So I want you again to write one thing down. What is one thing that you would like to share with someone in your life that you are scared of doing because you are afraid of the consequences, even though in your heart you feel it's the right thing to do? I don't want you to do anything if you don't feel like it. Just think about it. It's one thing to think about. And what I want you to think is, what would this mean for you and what would change in your life if you did it? How could it change your life? Yeah, now that I think about it, would you share in the chat from a scale from 1 to 10? One is that I'm not going to do it, and 10, I will definitely do it. Where are you in the scale? Wow, that's great. Really good. Wow, I love it. Perfect. So, Hmm. Okay. You can, Sandra, with the six, you can maybe think of an intermediate step, a baby step that you can take before that, so that it raises your number. And what I so what is now happening in my life is that I don't do anything unless it feels right for me. And it took me a long time to come here. Uh, I it's not it has been a long journey, but I want to give you one tool to think about, and this is what I do is whenever I feel pressure about something that I have to do, I'm using I have, not I want to do, I ask who is saying this. And most of the time, it's either society, other people, or even my good girl self. And it's usually something that I used to believe that I have to do, but it's not necessary. Who is saying this? And if I decide that it's just in my head, I don't do it. I can give you an example. I had arranged to do a workshop last June, and I was traveling, and I was also feeling I had too many things doing. I was doing so many things in my life that I felt so pressured. But I had said the good girl was still there in me, and I said that I would do it. And 3 weeks before it was going to be on, I could feel the heaviness. Whenever I thought about it, I would feel I don't feel like doing this. And I use this question: who is saying that I need to do this? And it was just me. It was the old me who was saying, you have to do this because somebody told you, or because it is supposed to be the right move, or whatever. And I canceled it. I just canceled it. Well, of course, I hadn't advertised it that much, but I canceled it. In the past, I would have never done that. I would have just pushed and pushed and pushed myself to get to the finish line. But this is what this amazing question does for me. Who is saying this? Who is saying that you need to do that? And the last thing that I want to talk to you about, and I didn't mention it earlier, is that I believe that it took me 7 years to arrive where I am now, where I am really happy with my life. I find things that I enjoy every day. I go with the flow. I, I, I cannot believe where I was and where I am today in one sentence. But what I didn't do is that I didn't ask for help. I took the courses, and I got stuck because I had no idea how to go through them. And exactly because I didn't know what I wanted, all books tell you set goals and then do steps and do this and do that. I was stuck because I had no idea what I wanted, so I stayed stuck for a long time. And then I didn't know how to apply the tools. It's a different thing to read a book or to take a course which is self-paced. You think that it's a system that you can easily follow, but for me it wasn't, and it took me such a long time to get where I am today. Whereas I believe that if I had help, it would have accelerated all this journey for me. And what I want to tell you is that ask for help. It can be your friends, your family, a specialist, whoever you think can help you. Ask for help. It's not weakness. I thought it would make me look weak. Uh, I was also shy. I I was judging myself, and I was overthinking, and I thought that I would ask stupid questions. And even when we were in trainings, in Zoom calls like this one, I never asked a single question, even though I had questions, because I thought that I would look stupid, and I thought that everybody else was smarter than me, more accomplished than me. But this didn't help me. It didn't help me. And I just, whatever you do, whatever you decide, I just want you to um, start working on yourself, start making decisions that are aligned with what you truly want for you, and not what other people tell you, your parents, your children, whoever it is. You cannot help anybody if you're thinking about that unless you are happy and okay yourself. I just want to leave you with uh, one thought. First of all, to thank you for being here. And yes, start living the life that you think um, you love. You don't need to. Uh, you don't need more commitment. Commitment has its obligation. Start finding things that you actually love doing, and when you do that, your life will flow. And start today. Do a few of the things that you wrote down. Just it's change starts with one decision, as I said before. It's a decision. So just do it. Take the decision, decide that you are important, that you are enough and lovable exactly like the way you are. And know that I believe in you, and I'm here for you no matter what you decide. So thank you.